Anyway, what did I say? The surgery and hey, I'm back. It's late. Oh, I was like, where did I do my little cue card? Um, so hello everybody. Welcome to Marcy Talks About It of the backstory. Coming from childhood stuff. Um, as you see in some of the titling, and if you read the description of the channel, and if you haven't subscribed, do so if you'd like. Thank you if you do. If you don't do now, maybe you can do it later because you might want to make comments or ask questions. And if you know about YouTube, you can only do that if you subscribe. And if you do have questions or the channel grows, and as it grows, I will, and I do intend to respond. And if there's a question that I don't understand, I can ask for clarification. You can do the same thing. If there's a comment that's just way out there that I don't, that's not particularly my speed or whatever, I might skip over the notification bell because I actually, this being a talk channel of a variety of subjects, um, I would hope um, within the confines of the things that I have to deal with in my life every day, that I will have the time and I definitely have a passion to post videos several times every day, several times a day. And I know that's easier said than done for YouTubers. But with the things I'm talking about, I don't think it's going to be that hard for me to be posting and carrying on. But hit the notification bell so you won't miss a post. And if you do miss a post, whether you hit the bell or not, and even whether you subscribe or not, or until you subscribe, check these videos out. This is a must watch because, in my own unique way, and yes, I'm a goofball and I do have a sense of humor. Laughter is healing. It's an immune booster. It's like ha ha ha. You get a boost of, it's like getting some zinc now. So, but it doesn't mean that some topics aren't, more serious than others, sadder than others, um, and more unfortunate than others. So everything is not funny, just like everything is not overly serious. So we're gonna run the gamut. And what I was doing was um, attempting to make and give more of a connection, introduction of the backstory of that part of me mentioning demonic childhood abuse and child slavery, being a child slave in modern America as an African American, and I can or person of color, um, you know, um, African American, Indian, and all, person of color, um, and people may be being interested in how to prevent this from happening to your own children or nieces and nephews, minors, what have you, uh, adopted kids, foster kids, whatever, and probably wondering, okay, well, what's with this whole, was it 10 years of slave? What's with this whole, child slavery part? Oh, you're gonna find out because it's not just about abuse. A lot of people have been abused, victimized as children, as teens, as adults, the gamut. I'm not special in that department. However, um, there are very unfortunate, specific years, tormenting years worth of reasons and incidents, and for me to be able to express how, unfortunately, I was not only horrifically abused, but I was also a modern day, full fledged, 100% slave to another person, slave to a black person, slave to a family member, slave who was a family member that adopted me when my mother died at a young age and left me in diapers. So, what could I do but just roll with the punches? Literally, roll. with the beatings, the slavery, the horror. Okay, so what I'm doing a video for, and trying to keep might as well say under 35-minute scenario, but 20, 30 minute, videos. The long ones, I watch them all the time, and I'll say I'm not gonna watch a long video with them. Then next thing you know, I watch a long video on monkeys running around, or long video. There's just so many different topics and interest and what have you, in social media and live streaming and videos and who whatever. And so it's just whatever bakes your cake. And even if it doesn't bake your cake, or you think it's not going to bake your cake, it ends up baking your cake anyway. So either it can encourage you, help you fight on as a survivor of, I don't know about the slavery part, but Black American descendants, or survivors of that, um, in one shape, form, or fashion. But I mean, in a modern day sense, survivor of any form of abuse, whether it's spousal, child, some other victimization, discrimination, the list goes on. Poverty, how you look, what you weigh, the list goes on. Okay, so in this case, about my backstory, some of the incidents I did mention that I was going to give a couple of more to give you some more insight on, like, good goobly goo. And two, I mentioned about a surgery situation that I had. Ugly situation. Scary. I have to pull out the toilet paper for that one for my eyes. It might jerk a tear or two, but I don't know. I think I'm all cried out to a degree. Um, and as we go, and as we talk about a myriad of things, you may find out why it's difficult for me to shed a tear. Um, but it's not that I won't or can't. As a matter of fact, I went 15 years without crying in my lifetime. I literally didn't cry, and it wasn't that there wasn't anything to cry about. I was super cried out. So I did a lot of crying out and praying out as a child. So I don't know. I guess I got to a point where I was just kind of cried out. So any Hoosiers, the there's a surgery incident, and that I have on my cue card that's almost done. The surgery incident. I did the runaway. Okay, so surgery, that's the last one on this cue card, and I said I was going to do two for this one and be done, because I got a late start, and it's late at night for me right now. Surgery, and that kind of maybe goes with that. Um, okay, I can end it on two that they bounced off of each other, the surgery incident and one that bounced off of it. And depending on the time, I could probably throw in something that kind of makes it so you kind of get more of the kinship of this whole slavery thing. And it's just going to be still the cotton candy version, the it ain't getting all off up in the weeds, in the cotton, no pun intended. So anyway, the surgery. I needed surgery um, when I was about 12, 11, 12. Two limbs. So I couldn't walk. I was on crutches and I had cast. And I was in the hospital approximately limb surgery. And wasn't for a disease or anything. It was a bone issue. And so it had to heal. And back then, your pins and casts and crutches and who shot jump, blood coming through your crutch, through your cast, and especially if you put weight on them. So you were supposed to either be in the bed or seated. And couldn't stay in the bed, wasn't getting cared for. Uh, I do not recall one Tylenol or some kind of pain medication being put in my mouth, or me being told, because this was in the summer months, to take this, every day at this time to help you with pain. So I had no pain management after being released from the hospital, to be at home to continue recovering for the summer, and letting those bones heal. And so I just sat quite a bit. My legs got really skinny because when you sit in muscle failure, you're not using your legs. Because I was very, tomboyish, playful. Um, if I stood on those crutches and the cast, uh, blood, I could see blood coming through and it hurt so bad. Just go to the bathroom, or I don't know, go in the kitchen, get some water, whatever it was. So I had to get off those legs and feet with the quickness, right? And then the crutches, I think they were maybe the wooden ones back then, so they weren't comfortable. They have the ones they have now with the cushions and all this kind of wood and stuff. So anyway, um, hot mess with that, but I, had to have it and needed to recover. And while that was going on, uh, certainly a very strict upbringing, meaning no talking to boys, because talking to boys could lead to things that lead to things that lead to things that lead to things that lead to things. And obviously nobody wanted those things to occur for young ladies, young girls. So no boy talking to boys. Keep in mind, I've got skinny legs from muscle failure. I've got 2 weeks of hospitalization from serious general anesthesia surgery, and cast on both feet and crutches, because I literally was just like rendered totally disabled for, until I could recover. And I needed to recover most of the summer. So I had like chicken legs for real, right? And um couldn't really go outside in the summer months while the guardian was at work, except if we had company over, some relatives over that were male, because we were female. So it was kind of like, um, I guess we would be being supervised, that we weren't like talking to boys or something, and we were outside, something like that. So, got male company over, got to go outside and to watch them, to supervise, babysit, whatever, and could and be out because again there was male company, close in age, and one of them wanted to play with a item that a neighbor had. They saw them with across the street, and I was seated as I needed to be. Cast, crutches, whatever, blood, pins in my feet, all that, skinny legs, and and I was asked, because of living there, can you ask the neighbor, can I play? And I was like, no, I'm thinking to myself, you insane or whatever, crazy, guardian, horror story. No, 50 degrees outside. I'm like, you know what, really? Fine. So here I go, getting on my crutches with my little toothpick legs, and the okay, this is saying the connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. There's been some storm activity the last few hours, some thunderstorms or whatever. Because I'm thinking it's kind of late. I know a lot of people are usually are on the internet and what have you, doing all sorts of things. It is a weekend, it's the holidays, but this is the first time I've seen that message. So that could pause my mouth or the audio or whatever. So hopefully this video is at 14 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and finish the surgery story and at least get that one done. And hopefully, with the unstable connection, you're able to get, the gist of this summary, synopsis, if you will, of the story. Um, so I was like, okay, for crying out loud, and so I called out to the neighbor. So and so wants to play with the thing you got. And this neighbor was fully aware of our of my home environment being like uber strict, not about what went on behind closed doors, because that was like secretive. But on the outside of it, um, everybody kind of knew, ooh, don't talk to her, because the guardian is, you know, they saw that there's very strictness and closed inness and not able to play with, leave the yard, or communicate with any folk, like she's off limits for real, not for play. So try to be funny, right? No, come and get. I'm like, first off, the whole come and get it thing, that's out, with my strict environment. But let's add in the cast and the crutches and the stick pin legs. Let's throw that in on the burner. Idiot, you know? And come and get. I was like, That's first of all, my legs hurt of cast, blood, what you call it, pins and stuff. Well, I'm not sending it over there unless you come and get it. I was like, oh, for Pete's sake, really? And so this went on, and the bottom line is, I just got sick of the whole matter. It's like, really? Sickening. So I hopped up with my crutches on those giant casts, blood gushing, pins hurt, nobody's, like I said, no acetaminophen, no nothing, generic, zilch, pain medicine. Um, and what I did is I hopped a little bit downhill. I could have tumbled over on my big freaking round pancake head, right? To the very edge of the yard, so that the neighbor could kind of toss the toy over. At the moment I reached out, because the toy came close to my hand. I'm just kind of leaning there. I'm about to fall over. I'm holding on to one crutch. I'm in a hot mess. Here comes a neighbor home from work that knew, everybody knew, but it's an adult that knew of the, again, maybe not every little horror behind the closed doors that people hide when they have people in the basement tied up, tortured, and all this kind of stuff. But um knew of the strictness, overbearing, over ridiculous, over no can do. Knew of that. And just saw me, my hand was reached out, caught the little toy so I could give it to my company, family company, and be done with it already, and stop sweating bullets, and, saying no 1,000 times of folks getting on my nerves when I had enough to get on my nerves, especially by 12 from 1.5. You don't think my nerves were bad? What made my nerves went just overly bad. I was a child and very, mature and intellectual. But what I'm saying, for stuff getting on my nerves, okay? You don't think by 12, I was kind of like, I done had it, looking at people real cross-eyed with the side eye by 12 with all this mess? Of course. So, but it was just my bad luck Becky self, right? That this person saw me, what looked like maybe, for whatever, thrown off. Remember I said thrown off? Completely thrown off the Richter scale reason, that this neighbor could have maybe thought that I was coming back from the neighbor boy's house. With the crutches and the cast, with the stick legs and the blood in the pen. I don't think so. Walona foo-foo, nut bucket, nut skull, nosy Rosie, busybody, neighbor, any Hoosiers. That was her assumption. For shame, for shame. Little did I know that she was going to run in her house and call the guardian at work and tell her, guess who I caught talking to or coming from or having a shenanigan with a boy, a neighbor boy. When fact of business, I can't even personally see why they even let me go from the hospital with the way I was feeling and blood gushing out every time I put any pressure on those casts. Pins and stuff, holding stuff together. Really? What a mess. Any Hoosiers. So I thought that was that on that. So a few hours later, on into the evening, we're uh, went in the house to do whatever, get water, use the bathroom. Who shot John? Why they shoot him? And everybody ran back outside. And Guardian comes home. Was home, had just gotten home. And again, everybody ran in to do whatever, blah blah blah, say hi, blah blah, blah, and run back out and play. Still light, dinner has to be prepared, what have you. And I was gonna get ready to hobble my little self back out there. It's like, you come here. I'm looking at the time, and the unstable connection message is still there, so I'm gonna just do the surgery one and cut, and then we'll pick this up, Lord willing, tomorrow, and keep it going. And because this is such a story and such a sensitive one, a serious one, a one with depth, a deep deal, talking about personal, your childhood, family. A lot of people are not willing to do that. Some people are courageous enough. Mine is about preventing this from happening to someone else. So giving that education, being courageous, taking these steps to, being bold, putting it out there is what it is. Um, I'm just gonna just finish the surgery one, and then we'll carry on. And as I carry on, the other subjects and subjects that may come in, they will get discussed. Trust and believe they will. Do not think, because if I wanted to just do, because I thought about that in rewriting the book of this childhood trauma and slavery, um, that I could just do that and be done with it, you know, or do a manuscript for a movie or whatever, or a Stephen King thriller, you know, because it's just that much horror in it. It's just that much horror in it. But I figure, with this the modernization of social media and YouTube channels and the lack of time, in trying to get books written and what have you, um, I just thought I'd at least get it out there again in a mode of prevention. This should never happen to anyone else ever. Not that it won't, but at least this is my courageous attempt and contribution at hoping that it won't happen to anybody else, because I was willing to call it expose it. I was willing to share. Simple as that. Courageous enough to share and willing to share. Because I could say I could care less about uh, somebody else, probably whatever, because I survived and I'm still trying to. Okay. But anyway, so I'm thinking, I'm not thinking anything except for pain and recovery. I'm not happy. I'm bony. I was already slim, as a girl, but I'm bony. Year post hospitalization, recovering efforts, with bone surgeries that have pins holding things together and crutches and cast and bloody cast and everything. The last thing on my mind was a stanking neighbor boy that I knew I couldn't talk to anyway. And what gives, with all that going on with my recovery process of this massive surgery. And so, um, as everybody was running back outdoors, I caught myself gonna hobble back out there and just maybe sit, on the porch and just kind of watch her. You come here. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, because I'm thinking, you know, can't be much of nothing. I mean, I just got out of the hospital and had surgery. And then so told me to go and enter her room and sit on the bed. And because obviously I couldn't stand, so I went and I got seated. And In her room was the window uh, to where you could see everybody out playing, and they could see in. It was a big window, and they had and she went and let all the shades all the way up and the window up where there was a screen there where you could hear. So it was just like, okay, must want to get some breeze in the house or something. I think myself, what's going on? So I'm just sitting there like, So next thing I know, right, I look out the window, and all the other kids were outdoors, visitors and the like. So I'm the only kid inside. So I'm thinking, la 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 la. And I'm watching uh the Guardian cut down because I forgot about the switches. Did I mention that with whoopings and beatings? Switches. Ooh, y'all know. I'm not talking about the brown stick switches. I'm talking about those green ones that was like rubber, be real long, wouldn't break and slice your skin open. Slavery days for real. Like really? The heck? So anyway, I sat there on the bed and I watched the storm out there with some shears. Big, back in people sewed and had sewing machines, big old sewing shears, and just got to cut. And one switch was longer than this screen. I can't. Literally, I can't. One was longer than like longer than what you're seeing on the screen. One was longer than that. I watched her cut 30 of them, and they were about this thick each, and they just felt like some kind of weird, unbreakable, thick. I don't even say plastic, but just thickness like that. Not no brown little switch that break on you like ooh ooh. Oh, no 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 no. So anyway, I'm thinking to myself, ooh, somebody's gonna get in trouble. I'm thinking it's the healthy kids outside. Somebody about to get him. I didn't have a clue. And if you want to know, well, why would you go so far as to put the word demonic in there? Because this is where it's fixing to come in. It's not like I hadn't prayed for this person to die every night before I went to sleep, and would pray for the world and myself and the crickets and everybody, everything else. Ever since I was knee high to a grasshopper, because of the harm and the horror and the pain, the suffering, the torture, the slavery. But at this point, I had had enough. I saw that. I'm thinking to myself, oh, somebody about to get towed up. And she came in the house and came in the room. And I noticed she didn't have anybody else with her. I was thinking to myself, boy, this is getting stranger by the moment. So thereby, I'm just sitting there, and I'm kind of starting to feel a little uncomfy because I'm not sure what the heckity poo's happening. And she goes into this, you're not supposed to talk to boys. Now, this is at least 4 hours, maybe, after this get the toy at the edge of the driveway, neighbor pull up and see this 3 to 4 hours. So I had forgotten about that, to be honest with you. I had pain on my mind from my surgery and stuff. And, you know, you back in the dayers, you're not supposed to look parent people straight in the eye. They call you and say you were eyeballing your grandma and stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't try to act. So, I ain't just like lean back and look like what you talking about. You couldn't do that back then. See, everybody doing that stuff now, y'all would have got knocked clean from here to the moon. But anyway, not saying that that's right to do that, but that's what you would have got. But anyway, so I was kind of like thinking to myself, looking more down, like, okay, well, I'm not sure what's going on with it. There's a lot of switches. And she went and slammed them down on the dresser and was angry, just like in fury. I'm thinking to myself, well, dad blasted, something horrible must have happened at work. I just didn't get it. And next thing you know, you're not supposed to talk to boys. And I was like, I'm like, hmm. I said, boys. I was like, I know that. You're right. I'm not. You know, talk to those boys. I don't like those boys. That's out. No boys. She said, but you did. Oh no, me? No, 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 no. Bam. No boys here. No, no talking to boys. Mm-mm. Nothing with boys. Zero boy thing. She said, I told you not to, and but you did. So I just got flat out accused. And so now you're finna get a whooping for it. I was thinking to myself, first of all, in my peripheral vision was those 30 switches. Second of all, was the reality that I was helpless with stick legs and casts, bloody casts, crutches, that whole thing. I've described it enough. You get it. And I'm sitting there. I couldn't even do the, the jump thing that unfortunately children that are beat now and that were back then, even more so. I couldn't even defend. I mean, not defend like try to fight an adult, but move and run. I couldn't run where back to the emergency room and where I needed to be. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, has somebody lost their ever loving mind? Because how is it that I can be beat for something I didn't do that I'm not even being allowed to explain how it looked like I was doing something? And it immediately came to mind. I was like, oh no, the neighbor. When I got the toy, I was like, oh. She thought whatever called, this is where this is coming from. So I figured, well, let me explain. I was like, no, let me explain. Nope, I don't want to hear anything. You talk to boys, you know what's wrong. I don't have time for this. I work hard, blah blah blah. It was done. There was no. She was the judge, the jury, and the executioner, and the person that cleaned, the janitor that cleaned up after they finished. There was nothing I could do or say. We had 33 minutes, so we all know. Ooh, if you could have been the fly or the roach on the wall, you'd have a few roaches. Clean house, but we had some roaches. They're ready to spray out, stunk. So roach on the wall, fly on the wall, whichever one, take your pick. Roach. If you could have been a roach on the wall and saw what that woman did to me, and then was vindictive and vicious, I guess one of those boys to see talk to her again. This is what she's gonna get. I think that was the whole, thingy. Window up, blinds open. I guess I was supposed to be screaming bloody murder so I could be like horrifically embarrassed, this, that, and the third. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, well, this is demonic. Being raised in the church, understood the under the Christian umbrella, knowing that this measure and this level of harm did not match anything remotely close to holiness, spirituality, Christianity, no good religion, Satanism, about it, vampirism or something, but any Hoosiers. So I thought, I'm about to get beat once again while I'm in a mode of surgical recovery, helplessness. A child is helpless anyway, but I mean, I was a sick, recovering surgery child with stick legs. Because other than that, I used to be, active, tomboy, climbing trees, this and that, cutting the yard, cutting the trees, doing it, trimming the hedges, taking the trash out. I was like the boy, uh, because there was typically no boy there. Tilling the garden, you name it. Washing the dog. I did the boy stuff and girl stuff for chores, and I just realized. I said, Now I've got a lot of beatings, and I couldn't justify one of them. I said, but this one, this is too much. And I remember saying to myself, this person is the devil. I didn't say this person is a demon. I said, this person is the devil. The devil. The devil. A professed Christian. This person is the devil. Because only the devil could do that. Do this to me in this state. And not give me a chance to even explain what is simplicity of what occurred with that transaction. Fast transaction. While I was in this state. This medical state. Very serious medical state. Very helpless medical state. So since we're at 36 minutes, she started with the the big cow leather belt first, or the switches. I think. If for lack of time, if I switch it back, it'll just be switched back. It's the same details, okay? Because it's very hurtful. So the 30 switches, she went over there and got one at a time. They were so big and thick. And I had remember counting them when she was cutting them outside, so I knew it was 30. I was like, whoa, I have to do the countdown to survive this. So she said, I think that belt was first because I grabbed. Anyway, when it got one of those switches at a time, longer than what you can see, and she just started slinging them at me. And she was slinging it wild and fussing, don't talk to boys, blah, blah, yelling. And something in me just, it didn't die, it just sunk. Because I knew I couldn't run, I couldn't hide, I couldn't stop it. It's gonna hurt bad. I was hoping she was gonna use all 30 of the switches, just maybe scare me a little. Switch after switch. Hit me so many times. Just and the only way I didn't get hit across my face or my neck or, you know, the chest, whatever, is because I kept putting my arms and my hands up and, trying to protect my face and myself and just trying to, it all hurt. My hand was sliced. And to my shockaroo, threw that on the floor, went got another one. Just continue, it's hitting my thighs because it was summer, so my thighs were exposed, and I was, looking, and I just saw cuts and welts and stuff, and my arms. I was, I would do this, but this was all getting cut. Everything. So basically, I just didn't get hit in my face because everything else that I was blocking with was cut, and she just kept going to get them. And I was trying to keep track of, hey, was she on 5 or 10 yet? I got about a ways to go. And She used all 30. It was all bloody and stuff. And she was upset because I wouldn't scream. She was upset because I wouldn't scream. Because the window was up and people were out playing, and I didn't want to be heard and embarrassed and teased, whatever, at school, whatever. And I was infuriated, but I was also in shock. So I was trying to hold it in, but I was in so much pain. So she got angry because I wouldn't cry. So I've heard of this before from people where parents tries to spank a child, or these days or back then. And if the child seems like they're holding it in or whatever, then the parent doesn't feel that the child has learned the lesson or whatever. So, oh, you're going to be rebel or you're going to be stubborn or whatever. So I'm going to pop you a few more times or pop or whatever. But so it was that scenario. But she was beating me, cutting me. Bugs were everywhere. My hand was sliced. It was bleeding. And I wanted to cry. I was in excruciating pain. And so I thought, well, so she keeps using all of these switches because I'm not crying. Well, let me kind of get that Academy Award and get some tears flowing so she can stop already. So I figured, well, let me express then. Well, forget the kids. I said, let me express what I'm feeling in my feet, my surgery and everything, and all these cuts and this pain and this horror and this lack of justice, and this horror, this evil, pure unadulterated evil. That's what I felt that I was experiencing and looking at. And I said to myself, it's the devil. And I'm getting away from here one way or the other when I recover. This won't happen to me ever again. And, I let a few little tears drop, finally, so she could stop. But she used all 30 of those switches. And she used all 30 of those switches. I let a few tears. I couldn't help but tears to come down. I was in excruciating pain. And, but I guess it wasn't enough tears because I had braced myself, even though I was doing this and that. I kind of pulled myself inside of myself to take this beating, beating, to take this beating. But I have connection issues, so probably look up I'm doing that, or that's why if I repeat, it's because so you can catch it in between the unstable connection. Uh, so anyway, so it's a little bit longer, but just finishing the surgery beaten story, and then I'm gonna close it out for the night. It's late enough. It's been quite the intro, right? um, she didn't like that I wasn't screaming and hollering and making a big to do. So I thought, okay, you know, she left out. She was all out of breath and huffing and puffing. I'm thinking to myself, if you got to do all of that, don't you think you're doing too much? So I'm thinking, evil. So when she left out, I thought, okay, well, maybe she's going to get some water, wash her hands, take a chill. No, she went to go get that belt. It's longer than what you can see. And this is made of cow leather, cowhide, the real leather. She went to go get that because she was going to show me and teach me. You don't talk to boys. You don't break my rules. And you don't sit and try to act strong or stubborn about it when you're being disciplined. I think to myself, I'm half dead. Like, so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at myself and I'm a bloody mess. And I was like, how can anybody do this? Here she come, this belt. And I'm not supposed to make eye contact. Oh, I made some eye contact. I sure did. I was like, and for just, it was just moments. That was the first time that I actually made eye contact because otherwise I couldn't. She told me to look at the floor from when I was little. People didn't know that. Do not look her directly in the eyes. And in the house, I only refer to her as ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not aunt. In front of other people, yes, but in front of, or, whatever the relation. But in front of, yeah, in front of other people at the house, ma'am, no, ma'am. A relative. As if I was a stranger. And look at the floor when you're talking. But I was like, I feel like already have killed me. What difference gonna make if I'm looking? I was like, for real? Lives in the cotton patch or whatever. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck did he do? I'm thinking to myself, is this not enough? The evil of it all. She wrapped that thing around there. And I thought, I know I can't fight her. Because I can't even stand. I said, but this, some got to give with this. Maybe I can scare her off, make my eyes real big or something. Bigger than they already are. So I was like, and she was like, you gonna eyeball me? She was like, we gonna see. And we gonna see if you gonna cry out or not. And I thought, what a horrible person, a monster. She wrapped that thing around and she ran back. She came, brought it towards me. I caught it in the air just like this. Hit so hard it cut my hand. I caught that sucker. And for about, it seemed like forever, but it was probably all of 10 or 15 seconds. I looked at her and held that dead busted belt for those whatever many seconds. And she must have known what I knew. Do it. Get it out. You'll never be able to do it to me again. Nothing I can do about it today. This is the last time. I was 12. Then I kind of got scared all of a sudden, like, did I just catch this thing and stare her down for a few seconds? I was like, oops. But that's how I felt in that moment. Just total, pure disgust. So I thought, you win today. Finish up. Last time. Last time. Last day. I knew I was leaving there one way or the other. So I let it go. She beat me to the brink of death with that. On top of the 30 switches. going on about talking to a boy, blah, blah. All I could do, and I was crying. I wasn't screaming right outside and all of that, but I was hurting inside. So I was crying inside and tears. Okay, yeah, I don't want to talk to boys. You know, I had to surrender. I had to be submissive. I had to give in. I was being brutalized. And she was just all one. I think myself, which one of us is gonna have to go to the emergency room? You or me? Out of breath and carrying on. So, if you guys were wondering, and there's lots more, and the understanding of the slavery part, because in the younger years, yes, I did her hair, I did her feet, massages, pedicures. Honey, I could outdo any of these people at these shops. Roller sets, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, 11. Yes, ma'am. And sir, I was her personal maid, slave, time she wanted. She would be like, ooh, ooh, it feels, ooh. If I was doing it or massaging her calves or whatever, I guess from standing at work or feet. Oh, and that at least made me, that's the only time I felt safe. It's when I was giving her pleasure of, relief and hair and ooh, scratch my scalp, ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm standing over her and I'm thinking, if she's getting this type of, generally speaking, other than, I'm done with the surgery, whooping, beating, it was a horror story. But she getting this type of comfort and pleasure from me. Why would she never return it? Never, never, never. So that being the only mother figure I had, I didn't think that's what mothers were like. I watched television. I saw mother people. She wasn't like the ones I saw on TV, but yeah, or at church or where church service or wherever. But um, the, it would be tiring, massaging forever or whatever it was as a child. But it literally was. It felt like some measure of uh, human closeness, I guess, because it was like I got to do favors for her, so that was like that's what she liked about me, I guess, as a kid or a person, whatever, and nothing else. I'll close on that. And maybe video 5, I'll talk about just a little bit more of this because the rest of it'll be in a book, a video, his own channel. Um, and I think you guys kind of get the basic points and pictures, but you're talking about 10 years every day. So get more into, I guess, the concept of why I akin it to real modern slavery. I've watched slave movies and slave videos and saw myself in it. I could watch a documentary right now. I've watched them, um, and I see myself there. And I'm in this time, but I see some of the exact same behaviors, chores, things, period. But I'm from modern America, modern times. And like with the exactness in slavery, I lived that behind the closed doors. Quote unquote, behind the closed doors, just in case there's not a book. But anyway, close. It's late. Subscribe. Sad but true. If you feel empathetic, thank you. This channel is also about giving. It's about giving empathy. It's about giving love, sharing, encouraging. You'll see. At least got a little bit more than what you got from the intro. So with that backstory, or at least this little snippets and incidents and synopsis of the backstory, because that is not the story, of course, in its entire, of course not. But got a pretty nasty taste of it. So as I talk on other matters and express myself, see, you get a better idea of where I'm coming from. What makes me me? What makes me uniquely me? All right. All right. Take care. God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. I hope it saves somebody. If some child.